Yeah, no.
Let's call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand, please? I'm going to ask that Brother Paul Powell lead us in our invocation. Mr. Powell.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, come forth this day. We ask forgiveness for our sins. We ask, Lord, that you guide us through these meetings. Give her leadership, knowledge to what we need to be doing and how to do it. Be with those that are sick and downtrodden. We ask, Lord, you bless each member here. Lead, guide, and direct us as we go through life. We might walk closer to thee. These things we ask in our humble Son's name. Amen.
If you remain standing, Norman Christian, would you lead us in our pledge, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Got a good crowd tonight. I want to welcome everyone here. We have lots of distinguished folks here tonight. See some elected officials. I see Miss Kendall, her husband with her tonight. Good seeing you. We have Sarai and many of your supporting school board. I see you guys out here. Welcome to tonight's commission. I see the mayor back there, Mayor Clint Huth. Welcome, Clint. You've had a busy day, I know. So, am I missing anyone? The sheriff is here. We'll see him later. So, Eric. All right. Welcome, Counselor. Are you ready to go? All right. Okay, a couple of things I want to get into. We're going to start changing the Tennessee legislature as we have, it is now law that we're going to be required to have a time for public comment period. We typically, what has happened in the past is you come to the county mayor's office, talk to me, and you tell me what we're going to kind of speak on. But this has changed some things. We're going to be coming out with a policy. So I ask if anyone at this time wants to speak. Now, it has to be about what's on tonight's budget. So you'll have 3 minutes. We're going to take 10 minutes and do this, get this out of the way, and take care of this. It's kind of shaky. This is the first time we've done it. First, it just became law July the 1st. So we have a form. It's here. If you want to speak before the meeting, you'll come up here to me. I'll be sitting right here. You'll sign this form. I'll take it, and you'll get to speak 3 minutes. Now, you'll address your comments to the chairman, which is me. And if you want to talk to or about one of the commissioners, you'll still have to speak through me to do that. So it's going to be a fun time all around. So I attended the school board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they did this, and did a splendid job. And I'm going to invite anyone now, because you're just hearing about this. Does anyone want to come up and address me to the commission? You've got 3 minutes.
Got it.
No, Chester, you cannot. Okay, but going forward, and this will always be on our agenda, it'll say public comments, 3 people, 3 minutes limit. Now, if you've got 4 or 5 people wanting to speak on one subject, I won't allow everybody to speak on the same subject. You guys pick out whomever it might be, pick out a speaker, because we could be here all night. But that is the law, and going forward, Commission, we will adopt a policy to adhere to this law, okay? We've got one roughed out. Mr. Bonaro has helped me with some of that. I'll run it by council and let her give her blessing on it. Then we'll have it ready to approve through the legislative body. So, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Chester Sherry.
Yes.
Brian Ruling.
Here.
Blaine Lane.
Here.
James Freeland.
Here.
Brian Walker.
Here.
Joyce Dodson. Here. Ed Nunley.
Here.
Jeff Barger.
Here.
Paul Powell.
Here.
Michael Hudson.
Here.
June Dishman. Here. Frank Silver.
Here.
Susie Bostic. Here. Wayne Clemens.
Here.
Tommy Johnson.
Here.
Tommy Nero. Jeff Becker.
Here.
17.
We have a quorum. Okay, first I want to welcome our friends from BTC Fiber. Ethan, welcome to this show. If you want to watch some of these commissioners on television later, you can tune them in and watch those guys. I know you're all lining up. So, okay, commissioners, in your packets, you should have received a set of minutes from the June 29th, 2023 special call meeting. I'll entertain a motion at this point to approve said minutes. I have a motion from Mr. Silver. I have a second from Mr. Powell. Any questions, comments, deletions, additions?
I was not here.
Susie, we listed you as here, so
Sorry. No, that's good.
thank you for that. Mr. Silver, will you amend according to that change, that correction? The second holds on the correction. Correct, Mr. Powell? Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, said minutes from June 29th hereby pass. Okay, we also have another item. We kind of got this from the school system and also the city. We typically, what we've done in the past, and there's, when I was looking into the public comments section, we can approve our agenda, and that way we won't have to waive the 5-day rule. So I asked for a motion to approve this agenda before you. Have a motion from Wayne. Do I hear a second? I have a second from Jimbo. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So if we approve the agenda such as this, then once we approve and vote on that, then there'll be no waiving the 5-day rule to add anything new to it. That's my, if you approve.
That's my understanding.
So no new business can be
Do
dealt with.
your due diligence.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's totally clear, because if not.
We have, Clint Dwayne was here earlier. You guys don't have a problem with that, right? You don't waive the 5-day rule. You don't use that tool, do you not?
We do not. At city business,
we will approve the agenda. If there's anything to add to the agenda that's not already listed, like if something pops up within a day or two after the agenda's been printed, at that time, we will amend the agenda, include those items, but once it's approved, then that's it. Nothing after that can be added until the next meeting.
That's why I want to make that very clear. Once we do that, there is no additions at all.
Counselor,
I agree.
thank you. Any other questions?
If we have something come up, like the budget committee meets early, and there's always something new thrown in the budget committee there, can they act on it and bring it for the commission?
I don't think so.
I think, Clint, I think we can add that and then take a motion on the addition.
Correct.
Right, I think you amend the agenda and approve the amended agenda.
Correct.
So those amendments, any changes or anything coming out of the committee will have to be duly marked then before we approve the agenda.
We're going to approve the agenda, yes.
Right.
That is correct.
Approving the agenda, you can do it or you don't have to.
That is correct.
So,
Either way, I've been to several school board meetings. I like the way that rolls, and several of the city meetings. I'm just trying to
I'm good either way. I just want to make sure
be
everybody's
clear.
clear.
I got you. Any other questions? We'll mess it up for sure. Chairman Parker.
One question. You have on the agenda item 3.
Yes.
There was plenty of discussion of that in the budget committee, and nothing came out of the budget committee.
Correct.
There won't be anything presented. Correct?
Well, we presented a budget tonight.
To the budget committee,
That's correct.
not to the full commission.
That's fixing to happen. We'll take it up in discussion.
Okay.
That's what this meeting is for. I mean, we'll iron it out, okay?
Now,
Are we clear, Mr. Shell?
that would include the 28%,
That is my recommendation, or in this meeting, that could change because there was no action taken in the budget committee. There's no motion confirmed, but we've got to get to that line. We've got a lot to get, do to
yeah,
get
I know, I
there.
just want to make sure we're on the
I
same
see
page.
you thinking over there. Any other questions? Okay, moving forward.
You got a motion second.
I'm sorry, yes, we have a motion to second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, agenda is hereby approved. Okay, moving to reports, I'm going to make the trustee report. And I'm going to go ahead and do the highway report, make that part of the minutes, Madam Clerk. Okay, adding to reports, Kendra, you're here. I want to ask, do you have anything for this legislative body this evening?
I wish I did.
Okay.
Glad to be here.
Ms. Sarai, you're here with the school system. Would you like to come forward, please?
Good evening. So I just want to take an opportunity to thank you all again for being so supportive. It's been a long, hard season for all of us in every single department. I just ask that you be very mindful as we go forward. The school system has been extremely cooperative. You all are going to delve deeper into that. Our school board has approved a budget and we're bringing before you tonight. That will allow our professional teachers $2,250, raise 5% for our paraprofessionals. It's just not enough. Like everybody else, we are battling unfunded mandates. The needs of our students increase every single day. I'm really proud to report that the state of Tennessee gave one additional volunteer preschool that was awarded to us here in Sequatchie County so we can serve more 3- and 4-year-olds and get them ready for before they become kindergartners. Right now I have 135 kindergartners enrolled. We have a new enrollment this week, so I'll be able to update those. The $6 million renovation project at high school is underway. That will increase security in the front doors. It will also completely renovate the old boiler chiller system and get that HVAC system upgraded. Again, I know what's on the hearts and minds of everybody in the room are our tax dollars at work. I want to represent us well. I know what our community standards are. That's who I look for in people that we're hiring, and absolutely giving the best that the students in this community represent. It's important that we all come together. If we're going to increase as a society, we must pour into the education of our children. So I hope that as our reserve starts to go down and we come before you asking for things, that you all will remember the cooperative spirit that we've given and be willing to return the favor. Happy to answer any questions you might have for me.
Any questions for Director of Schools?
You have a copy of our line item budget in front of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what about Mr. Eric? Come forward, sir.
Well, each of you should have a copy of my report that's laid on your seat. Inside the report, attachments, you'll look what work activities we've been working on, what we kept coming up. There should be a balance sheet on attachment B. Attachment C is our budget. We do our budget based on the number we get from Nashville every year. It's the same number every year, even though costs go up, but that's what I have to live within. So we basically have to do the same amount of work with 20%, 25% less money. But the other thing is attachment D. It's a purchasing policy. Everybody needs to look at. Me and Keith talked about it. We're trying to get square with the auditors. Other than that, we're going to do a little bit of tar and chipping this year. We're going to do a little bit of paving this year out of our general fund money. But we did get about $2.4 million this year for state aid work. It's took 3 years of aggravating and calling and prodding, but they finally give us some extra money. Normally we get $157,000 annually. They went ahead and give us that too, which I was shocked. I was told we wouldn't get that. So we're going to be doing Category 1 roads. That's all I can spend that money on. That's like East Valley, West Valley, Lewis Chapel Mountain Road, Henson Gap Road, roads like that. It's the only places I can spend this money. Got about 4 projects in the work right now, about $1.5 million worth of that money. Be set up and ready to go in about a month. So you'll see us doing a lot of paving and stuff like that.
Would that exclude the secondary roads?
Only Category 1 roads. There's a few of our secondary roads that are Category 1 roads that I will be able to use that money on. Like I can use it on Stone Cave, John Birch, Picket Cross. There's a few of them I can. Stooping Oak, I could use it on that road. That's the roads we're going to pave. We're going to do Lewis Chapel, Stooping Oak, Stone Cave, and a 5.5 or 6 mile section of East Valley to start with.
What is the proposed deal on, certain secondary roads that do get in repair need? And I know the base is bad, so I just kind of wondering on that.
As far as us fixing it?
Yeah, on like Snyder Hill coming off that.
Okay, there's a little section up there. I've talked to some of your constituents. We're going to shift the ditch. We got a little bit of right of way there. We're going to try to shift it over and fix a little bit of room there so people can kind of get over a little bit. But as far as paving and stuff, like I said, I've got a $2 million budget. That's what it is every year, and my costs are about 20 to 25% higher than they've been.
I think it, based on what you're talking about, it wouldn't really have to be paid, take chips and just the gravel stuff, it would, or just hug mix, and leave it just open for a year or something like that.
Yeah, we got 6 roads we're going to tar and chip. 2 of them is on your mountain. 1 of them is on Fredonia, and 1 of them is on Cagle. And there's 1 here in Nevada. We're going to do 2 in Nevada. There's about 6 roads.
Thanks, sir.
Eric, real quick, CC Road in Woodland Mountain, where Grundy, Marion, Sequatchie meets in 6th District. What are we doing out there? Is it still a deal with Marion County that we switched out senior mayor?
I work on a section of their road off Brown's Chapel for them. It's a written agreement that I've got in the office and they've got in their office. And I did get a message from Rita, and I'm gonna call him tomorrow, because I know he mows for us and he does pothole patching for us, and we do the same for him on this road right here, but it is, that's the way it works for
Okay,
us.
yeah,
Now, if I need to, I can go out there, but it's difficult for me to haul a tractor an hour out there, mow for an hour or two, and then haul it all the way back. That's pretty much, but that's why
what
we work
explained
there.
to those constituents out there.
Yes.
I just didn't know if it was still in place.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it, it's the same way.
Any other questions for Eric? Thank you, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you.
Okay, before the sheriff, as he's working his way up to tell us about the surprise visit he had from TCI, I want to make a note that our financial reports have been filed from the county clerk, the chancery court, and the register of deeds office, filed with Madam Clerk here. I just want that to be part of the minutes. So, Madam Clerk, please let me know. Sheriff, tell us about this surprise visit.
Well, we had our annual surprise visit from TCI I think the week before last now. So that's just one of those deals where they just show up one morning, knock on the door and go, hey, we're here to inspect your jail. So they did their inspection, and at the end of the day, they left with no deficiencies reported, which is pretty amazing. It's very, they have the minimum standard with TCI is really, really difficult for jail facilities to meet year after year. And I just, we put something out on Facebook last week, just kind of recognizing our staff over there and the job that they do. But then again, as I put in that post, that's why we have one of, I think, only 5 jails in the state that are accredited. So if you see those folks, tell them they do a good job, because they do. So that was a really a neat day. So just, I know y'all got a lot of things to talk about tonight, so I'll just hit the high spots here. We're working with some new hires right now. We got one that came in last week, and another one will be in next week. Both of these are already certified officers, which means we don't have to send them to an academy. So that helps a lot. So that's where we are with those folks. We have the one that we brought up who came from the jail to the hospital, and then we brought him over and sent him to the academy. He just came back a couple of weeks ago, so he now is a certified police officer, or sheriff's deputy. So we got him finishing his FTO program, and that'll give us one more person to help cover this county. So that's kind of on the jail side. We are currently 3 people short again. That number continues to fluctuate. I think the last meeting I was at, I think we were up to just 1 short, but we once again are 3 down there, working on trying to fill those positions. One thing I want to mention is we had one of our patrol vehicles, the motor blew up in it. And just in a casual conversation with the Hampton County Sheriff, who's been a friend of mine for years, I just mentioned to him, it'd be nice if we had a vehicle that was wrecked and had a good motor in it. And he goes, we've got a bunch of wrecked vehicles. They have a lot of vehicles in their fleet. So he goes back and he has somebody to check, and they actually had a vehicle that had a motor that could be used for the vehicle that we need to put a motor in. So the Hampton County Commission at last month's meeting had a resolution, and they approved to donate that vehicle to the Sequatchie County government. So we now have that vehicle, ownership of that vehicle. And the only thing we heard from the Hampton County Commission was that they were proud that they had an opportunity to assist a neighboring county. So if you see any of your fellow commissioners from Hampton County, remember that. There is the Handle with Care program. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that previously in the commission meetings. But this is a program that it's kind of an effort between us and the schools. And so when our deputies are out on a call in the middle of the night and they see a child, a school-age child that's in some stressful situation, which we do often, we have a program. It's just a form that our deputies can go to, and it's an online form. Fill it out, send it in. These people get it immediately. They then forward it to the school system, and all they have is the child's name and that there was an issue with law enforcement within the past so many hours or whatever. No details about the situation. So that will go. We're actually meeting on the 25th with the coordinators of this with TBI to train the rest of the staff with the school system. And then we will be ready to go online. My people are already trained in it. And so by the beginning of the school year, if not within a few days after, we will be ready to implement this program. And so what that will do is the notification will go to a counselor or whoever the schools choose to receive this notification. And then they will know to notify little Sally's teachers that, you know, hey, she had an event last night, may need a little extra care today. So, you know, for example, if she's got a test scheduled in a certain class that day, the teacher may come up and go, hey, you know, why don't we take this test Monday or whatever, because it's really difficult for these kids sometimes go through things that many of us don't really see every day, and it's really difficult for them to be able to then go to school and concentrate on their schoolwork. So we're really happy to have this program going into place, and it should be in place by the beginning of the school year. And then the SRO grant, everything's been submitted on it. It's obviously a guaranteed grant, so we should be able to get up to $75,000 per school for each of our SROs. So there's a lot more to talk about, but I know you guys got a busy night.
Any questions for the sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's much more comment, Bill, just on, you know, with this letter that we got on the 29th, I remember the days we used to worry about getting those letters and what would be the consequences of that. And I just want to say, you know, at budget time, you submitted a budget that's made some requests, but sometimes you don't have to sit in front of the microphone and ask. The results often can provide some information to us on what's the right and the wrong thing to do. That letter certainly provides results, as have the recent arrests that have been made. And also the fact that I understood you've went out to all the districts and made your case on the budget. Not something we're accustomed to seeing too often. So I just think sometimes the results more than the words. And I noticed you didn't ask anything about the budget on here. You're delivering results. And that's, I think, from a governing body, that's the kind of stuff we want to see, is results when we have to make very tough decisions on something requested. And that's leading to
It is. I appreciate that.
I hope that's not a thunderstorm developing over there.
Yeah. That was his words. All right.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Janice, I see you there. Anything from the chamber?
Well, you know I do.
All right.
So those of you who weren't over at the river this morning, and thank you, Joyce, and some of you for being there, we had over 100 people there when we opened the launch for the canoes and kayaks. Channel 3 did an excellent story on it. They'll put it on their Facebook page afterwards. And then we had about 75 people kayak, including Mayor Huth. The Chamber is going to partner with the Dunlap Lions Club in District 12 to offer preschool screening on July the 28th. We've handed out applications to over 300 students, kids in daycares. We're also put out notice that any parent who wants to bring their child to have them evaluated we're linked with Vanderbilt Hospital, so they'll get the results back, and then if we need to help, the Dunlap Lions Club will help support glasses there. And on the 29th, we're already taking appointments for any adult in the valley that wants to come and get their eyes checked. Come and do that. So have anybody call the chamber. We're taking those appointments, and we'll go from there. Over the next 3 days, we're going to work with the TBI to set up a fingerprint station at the chamber. So if you've been having to drive to Crossville or Chattanooga or Sparta to get your fingerprints done, we'll go live Thursday morning so you can get your fingerprints done there. I love what Keith said. We want people to come to the valley. We want them to stay 2 or 3 days. We want them to go home. Currently, and that was in 2021, each household received $67 that they didn't have to pay taxes on because of tourism. I think we'll see a big increase when we get our new report from that. TDOT has worked beautifully with us. They're helping do the Gateway Monument. When you get off of 111, you'll see the groundwork that's there. We're doing a Gateway Monument that'll say Dunlap and have gas lamps on the top. The overlook, we're going to put up a rock wall around that, so we've worked with them. If you haven't seen the Scenic Byway, the National Scenic Byway, they did a highlight nationally on Sequatchie County, or Sequatchie Valley National Scenic Byway, so we're working with them to make that work, and I thank you for what you do, because most of you I can call and say, I really need you to do this and this and this, and you're always there. So I'll try to let you know if we're opening new businesses in your district so that you can show up for those. I thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Mayor Huth, you're here. Anything from you? Any bumps or bruises from your kayak trip today? The water doesn't get too deep, 6'7" Clint, so.
No, I didn't drown. I would like to just share, as Janice said, we had a great turnout today for a Monday. Never would have thought we would have done as well. So many people to thank for this project, including y'all here at Sequatchie County. And yours, not just in the support that you've given us for our site here at the old Humpback Bridge, but also for your site as well too. And just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Clint. Appreciate it. Robin, I see you here with the library. Anything from you?
Of course.
Absolutely. Come forward, please. Stand up. You're
Yes,
fine.
thank you. Last month was our summer reading program, and according to Betty, it was the best one that we've had in Sequatchie County. Your library is being used every day. A little bit of numbers. Summer reading program, our patrons was 1,027. Just regular patrons was 1,542. Total patrons in your library for the month of June was 2,569. We had 64 new families. These are families that are coming from Hamilton County, Grundy, and new ones that are moving here. So, and we have a new employee, Tamara Jackson. Virginia has retired, and Tamara Jackson has joined our team, and we're just doing wonderful in the office. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Robin. They do a splendid job down at the library. If you haven't visited lately, please go by. Okay, Andrew, anything from the IDB? I don't see any of your other board members tonight. I thought I saw Dale earlier, but any updates?
So just briefly, the Industrial Development Board did meet in June. We're beginning to get geared up to work towards the Carlisle project. We meet again July 31st at 4 o'clock to begin going over the proposals that we will have received. By then, we're working closely with Mr. Cartwright in Southeast Tennessee Development District, helping guide us through that. So we're excited for that.
No proposals yet, though, have we?
Haven't seen any yet.
We don't have any yet, but they've got till the 27th to turn those in. We do have 2 interested parties that have submitted letters of intent, so we're waiting anxiously on those proposals. We're excited about going forward with that. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, up next, Mr. Jim Patterson, our Veteran Service Officer. I see you brought your lovely daughter with you tonight.
I did.
Appreciate it.
All of y'all have the report and a couple highlights from it. First of all, I've completed my first year on the job, so I want to thank the commission for outstanding support you've given in the office. Thank you. They just published the fiscal year 2022 VA numbers, and you can see what our county received was $18.1 million in comp and pension and $24.7 million in total VA funds. That's comp and pension plus education, medical, and anything else the VA pays out to veterans. When you do a per capita average, which is our number of veterans divided by the dollars we receive $16,478 per. That puts us third in the state out of 95 counties at the bottom. And the state average is between 44 and 45 with that. In total VA dollars, we're fourth at 24.7, 22,000 per. And so as you know, that equals a fair amount of sales tax. I just sort of guessed at a number here as to what that might be. Also, you see our productivity numbers that are listed. What I did where it says incomplete, that means I didn't have enough data in the computer to really come to a number. But it's last year's calendar year, 2023 to date shows where we're at in the different forms that we fill out and stuff that we process. And then I did an average of the last 3 years, fiscal years, as to what we process, and then what we did in my first fiscal year, you see here. So those numbers are quite a bit better. What I've done is completed my monthly and quarterly training, also my 1-year visit from the VA that I have to, or Tennessee Department of Veteran Services I have to get. And the big thing here is on Thursday they completed my training to have what's called direct file access. What that means is normally in the past when a veteran would come in, we'd have to do a power of attorney so we could see their file. That could take 15 minutes for Nashville to do it, or it could take a day, depending on how busy they were with other things. Now it takes about 90 seconds. I'll have access, I'll be able to file what I need to file, and a lot of times I can get those claims done in 30 minutes to an hour. So one visit, it's done, then they're just waiting on the VA to get around to doing it. So that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Jim did a great job. We get to see Jim every day, and we really appreciate it. And that's not really his daughter, but that's his wife. So anyway, good having you tonight, Vicki. Thank you. Moving forward, Counselor, I skip you a lot of times. Anything from the bench?
No, nothing.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay. What about our emergency services? Anybody here with emergency services?
No report.
No report.
No report for this month. We are working on having we're working on our chiefs and fire department get together, and those other things are still TBA, but it should be sometime in August at this point.
Thank you, Jay Mack. Mr. Venero with audit, you are sharing anything to report from that?
No, we did not have a meeting this morning to do with the budget season, and we haven't had our exit interview from a countywide perspective, so there's nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Sheldon with ag, anything, sir?
Couple of things. One, you should have a written report highlighting the April, May, June program, which is pretty busy, as well as some highlights from the end of our fiscal year. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is we do have a vacancy in one of our agent positions. Kim Davis, our Family Consumer Science agent, left in June, so we will begin the search process soon. We talked about a timeline today with the university, so hopefully first of the year is what we're thinking with filling that position. If you know anyone looking for a job with extension and family consumer science degree, I got an opening.
Okay, you heard it here first. Chester, what do you think? Thank you, Sheldon. We appreciate it. Did I skip anybody besides budget? Anybody with a report, a committee or anything else? Chairman Barber.
Sir. Thank you, Chairman, Commission, ladies and gentlemen, audience. Budget Committee did have a very spirited budget meeting prior to this meeting, and a couple of things, or a thing that did come out. There was some action, and you actually have it on your agenda too, Mr. Cartwright. It's the certified rate calculation after the reassessment of property, and that everyone should have a copy of that. Then the new certified rate is, and this came as a recommendation from the Budget Committee to adopt 1.5566.
Okay, you've heard the motion from the Budget Committee to accept or determine that 1.5566 is the new certified tax neutral rate. We have a motion from the Budget Committee. Do I hear a second? I have a second from Mr. Shell. Any questions? This is the one action item we have tonight. We have to turn this back into the comptroller first thing in the morning. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, but I'll need those minutes ASAP. Okay. Thank you. Absolutely. So what we have to do here, because this rate means significant revenue, loss or gain, I'll call for a roll call on the determining the certified rate.
Chester Shell. Brian Ruling.
Yes.
Lane Lane.
Yes.
James Freeland.
Yes.
Brian Walker.
Yes.
Joyce Dodson. Yes. Ed Nunley.
Yes.
Jeff Barger.
Yes.
Paul Powell.
Yes.
Michael Hudson.
Yes.
June Dishman. Yes. Frank Silver.
Yes.
Susie Bostic. Yes. Wayne Clemens.
Yes.
Tommy Johnson.
Yes.
Tom Venero.
Yes.
Jeff Baker.
Yes.
Motion hereby passes. Mr. Barker.
The only other thing that the Budget Committee took considerable amount of discussion on, and everyone should have a copy now, is there was a proposed 23-24 budget, and everyone should have a copy in there, and there'll be no action done on that tonight. And you look like you want to say something, Chairman.
Well, I just wanted to, got a lot of calls on the wheel tax. Can you talk about that discussion? There was no vote.
Yep.
There wasn't scheduled a vote, but talk about that, Chairman.
Okay. Yes, there was a wheel tax discussion, and everyone on the Budget Committee had kind of went back. Most everyone got to talk to some of their constituents in their area, and basically the feedback from that, there was no vote or anything, but the feedback from that is that the wheel tax discussion is dropped in Budget Committee. There will not be a wheel tax proposal.
And I also like to add to that it not come back in session again during Mr. Cartwright's commission as a county executive.
So as soon as I die, get hit by a bus or quit, you're going to pass the wheel tax. Is that what I'm understanding?
Chester put in an application with Greyhound last week.
Well, and I can tell you this, Chester, it may be different coming the next time around, but as a budget chairman, it's not going to come back up in the Budget Committee. It's dead.
And as we said during the Budget Committee, we did effectively say that it would never come up again, because we all agreed that it would go to referendum for the people to vote, because there's not consensus.
Correct.
So to answer his question, the reasoning behind it is not the right reasoning, but yes, it won't be coming up again, because it should go to the people when the budget, and then we can't agree as a consensus.
Well, typically, every time we
Next time
start...
you'll see it'll be on a referendum, if ever.
Yeah, and just a point of note, typically every time we raise or looking to raise taxes, this wheel tax issue comes forward, not as an additional tax, but as an alternative tax revenue source. So just want to be clear on that. So any other comments from the commission? Let's move on.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. We
We talked about everyone has a presentation of the budget in front of them.
Okay.
And I will add, on the budget you have in front of you, don't call me, call Mr. Cartwright.
Okay, moving forward, one of the duties as county mayor, county executive is to appoint, with blessing, the 911 board. Shane Garrison left us a resignation letter. He's been on the board how long, Mayor?
Probably 10, 12 years, Brian?
At least 10 or 12 years, has done a great job. He's the previous owner of Puckett EMS. He was a welcome addition, and we like to fulfill that slot with someone from Puckett. So my recommendation is Mr. Garrett Farley, longtime employee of Puckett EMS, lots of knowledge. He comes highly recommended also from the 911 board. We've known Garrett for years. He used to be with our ambulance service, a splendid gentleman, and we welcome him in. I'll entertain a motion to accept Mr. Garrett Farley. We have a motion from Mr. Ed Nunnally and a second from Jim Breland. Thank you for that. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Farley. So welcome to the team. Okay, up next, and Counselor, I may need you to sit at the edge of your seat on this, the presentation of the 2024 budget. Now, tonight is simply a presentation. Budget Chair Barger and myself presented a budget to the Budget Committee. It is a 28-cent, not percent, a 28-cent increase to meet needed expenditure funding. We looked at 25, we've looked at 23. What that does, and I will say this for the record, it gets into our fund balance, which currently stands about 2.8 million. It brings it down even at 28 cents to 2.3 million. Now, we certainly anticipate good growth going forward. Our sales tax, I know we're working with the school board, and we're excited about the potential of sales tax going forward. We think small town America is doing well with folks moving in and spending money here. Again, listen, love thy neighbor, I'm all in with that, but I hope they keep moving. Come here, spend some money, and I love where I'm from, and I think I like living in the remoteness of Sequatchie County. So the proposal is 28 cents from Chairman Barger and myself. Now, that's up for discussion. We'll take no vote tonight. There will be a public hearing on the presentation. Now, on July the 31st at 5 p.m. So I'll open this up to discussion. Mr. Shedd.
Yes, on the 28, I hadn't consulted with my constituents on the 28. I was looking at something like 20 when I was discussing with you and talking. So I would reserve the time to let me discuss with my constituents. And
you will have till the 31st. We'll take you no vote.
That's why I do, but I also like to give recommendation that instead of all these pay rates in this county, let's try to cut back some to where we can make that number smaller. Let's rank that 28 down to, let's get as close to 20 as we can. I'm a bargain, I'm a take.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Shedd. Let's open this up, guys. I want to hear from you. This is the time we discuss this. And Counselor, I don't know that that's what we have proposed tonight. It's certainly, we've had a lot of hard work put into this. We pay a lot of tax individually, all of us do. And we anguished a lot over this year's budget. So the proposal is 28 cents. Any other comments or topic?
So when we talk about the 28 cents, it's bigger than that. It's not just a tax rate vote. You're voting for a budget. And And the budget lays out what's needed for the county to run in a certain method. The 28 cents is the method to pay the expenses that are in the budget. So when it's labeled just a 28% or 28 cent tax increase, when I vote, I'm not voting on I'm voting on the budget as a whole, which pays the sheriff and all his deputies the raises they're requesting for the work they've done. That covers the sanitation issues that we have in our county due to inflation, equipment failure, and other things. The fact that we're the fourth highest growing county, mandatory raises, that's what I'm voting for when I say a budget. I'm not voting up or down on a 28 cent tax. If that's what it takes to cover it, then that's what we're voting on. If there's alternatives, I'm not going to go back to one of the things we just put to death with the wheel tax, but if there's alternatives, this right now is the time for our body to talk about it. Otherwise, the 28 cents is what's needed to pull that. So I just want to make that clear. I don't vote for 28 cents. I'm voting for a budget as a whole, which covers all the needs in our county, a very highly growing county. And Mackie and I can debate whether the property tax owner should carry that whole burden. There's nothing to debate about. That's it. We don't have any other means to raise this revenue other than to hit the property tax owners. I'm sour about that. Nothing we can do about it. We have a job to do. So that, I just want to clarify my vote when I vote in a couple weeks or whenever we vote. It's not on 28 cents tax increase. No one in the right mind is going to want to vote just for that. You have to vote for the budget. What's required to do the work we need to do to provide the services that you're all here to do today. So that's where I vote on a tax versus a budget. I'm voting on the budget, not a tax increase.
Can I have a comment on that?
Everybody gets to speak one time before you speak again.
Commissioner Silver, please.
As a point of clarification, I know I've talked to Mr. Chairman up here about it a couple times, but as far as the public's concerned, would you go the percentages that we're talking about that the budget is made up of?
Yes. Most small town Americas, most small communities have three primary places where money goes. First is education. We're proud of that. We're proud of the education system we have. 38% of this budget goes to educate our kids. 35% goes to incarceration. And 12% goes to solid waste and rising. That totals 85%. Now on the 15% that's left, you've got Parks and Rec, you've got the trustee's office, the assessor's office, the clerk's office with the tags, you've got the health department, the library, many other offices. I said earlier, hair and makeup for some of these commissioners, they need it. In jest. There's not very much left at the end of this. When you're looking at double-digit inflation, soaring inflation, we are in competition with our surrounding counties on retaining good quality people. We start our budget, we start our pay at the sheriff's office and the jail office at about $13. Folks, that's not going to hold a good officer. When Whitwell and Bledsoe County, South Pittsburgh, not to mention Hamilton County, are paying $20 to start. If we're going to retain our good officers and the sheriff has made his case very well. I've been to several meetings he's at, and I believe in what he's trying to accomplish here in our county. We have a major drug problem, and he's working daily, diligently to take care of this. So those costs are pushing somewhere around $750,000 to $800,000 just for that one department. Now, he's not being reckless. These are just, most of this is going to more officers and pay increases that to retain these people, we're going to have them. So equipment, sanitation, tipping fees and equipment cost in sanitation, it's outrageous. And it's going to go higher, especially the tipping fees. You know, all this environmental compliance we're having to adhere to, it's costly, and we're seeing that now. North of the Mason-Dixon, you're looking at $90 a ton in tipping fees. Here we're still around 50, but it's going north. So get ready. We have no other choice. The landfills kind of depict what that number is. There's no government intervention, TDEC cannot help us there. Escalating costs is all over. Unfunded mandates. The school gets into it, we get into it. Our local government software for each office has doubled. That's about a $80,000 hit. That's almost 2 pennies. We can't do anything about it. No, we're not going to use that. We're going to go somewhere else and bid that out. Well, you can't. It's an unfunded mandate. You know, the question comes up, well, Keith, why are you guys buying all this property? We do not use, folks, operational money to buy property. When you buy a bullet, a protective vest, pencil, paper, those things are just, you know, disposable. When you buy hard assets to grow this community, you're reinvesting in your community. That is a hard, tangible asset, an appreciating asset that I will stand by every time these gentlemen and ladies approve a request to purchase property. We are growing. As Commissioner Venero said, we are the 4th fastest growing county in the state of Tennessee. I don't see that changing. We have a beautiful place to live. And I'm not a career politician. I won't be here one day. But I love my home and I love this community, and I support this tax increase. I don't like paying taxes, you know, but if we're going to maintain the quality of life here in our county commission, we have to do what it takes to do that. Now, this is our 7th, well, the meeting before this was our 7th budget committee meeting. We have gone over these expenses. The sheriff and I, he's got the biggest budget. We have stayed in my office hours, and we've whittled it, Bill, have we not? And he wasn't very happy, but we've whittled it down 3 cents, which is about $120,000, 2.5 cents. So we've done some more cutting elsewhere, but folks, we're not, we can't control the unfunded mandates nor the double-digit inflation we've got. Now, we can be smarter, as Commissioner Mackey said. We can look at privatizing our solid waste department, with especially the dray costs, the trucking, the transporting of our garbage to and fro. We can look at that. We think there's some savings there. We had a bite on that 6 months ago, and the company sold. And the new owner's not ready for this to speak with us about you know, making us an offer. But we are looking into avenues to better do that. Carbon Black Global, a lot of folks said, well, what about our R&D company out here on the mountain? Carbon Black, or Landera, they changed their name a little bit. Well, they can't get by TDEC. Again, the regulations, the compliance with our state government even. It's a wonderful company. They're doing their business up in Canada, you know, and doing well. But here in Tennessee and in other parts of the states, we're struggling on getting through the compliance piece. So I say all these things to say, could we drop that to 25? Could we drop it to 22? You can't. What you're going to do is cut into your future. If you start eating away at your fund balance, let's talk about fund balance for just a moment. Right now, you have a $2.8 million fund balance. If you pass the 28, based on the new expenditures, it's going to go down to 2.3. If you drop it more, it's going to go down to 1.9, and in 2 years, you're going to be down to 600,000 or 700,000. You're going to be right back here again, trying to raise taxes. Now, we haven't raised taxes for 9 years. And I'm doing my due diligence, and we've anguished over this. Mr. Barger and myself have anguished over this budget more than any other budget in my 12-year term. We are presenting tonight a 28-cent increase in the tax rate. We think that is sufficient to meet the needs, and it keeps 3 cents going into capital projects. This money is split into 4 different funds. Solid waste is in the most dire straits. 101, it's okay, but you know, with the sheriff needing to do, with the county, not the sheriff, with the county needing to do what we need to do to protect and serve our citizenry, we have got to step up. You have that charge tonight. And Commissioner Vanero hates this, but I'm bringing it and putting it on the table. You've got to vote. Listen, I'm not going to veto what you vote for, you know, but you guys have got to step up and, after this presentation. So who's next? I'm tired. Mr. Ed.
Today's the 17th, and the wheel tax got out and the people talking about it.
It's done.
It's gone. Okay, we got until the 31st, right?
Yes.
Okay, if this gets out to the people, and it should get out to the people,
Sure.
will that have any effect on 28, 25, or whatever?
Not really. The presentation tonight is 28 cents. Now, could we change it tonight, the presentation? Sure. All I'm telling you is I'm going to take 3 pennies out of capital projects, and it'll be the same budget. It'll just lower it to 25. But our capital projects fund has gotten lower because we've been acquiring property. You know, it was way up. It's well over $1 million. We've bought tangible, hard assets that have appreciated. For example, and I gave this to the budget committee, we bought 50 acres of the old coal wash area several years ago. We gave $220,000 for it. We've turned down this month for 40 of those acres, $500,000. Now, that's the type of investment I believe when you reinvest in your community you should make. We've made smart investments. You have. I brought them to the table with other folks, but we've invested wisely. We bought a piece of property on Lewis Chapel Mountain for a tower. Brian Ruling, we've already got somebody interested in possibly trying to buy and put the tower up for us. Possibility. They're just inquiring. They're looking for a site. Listen, if they'll build it and spend their money and let us tag on, that's smart business.
I will echo a lot of what Mr. Cartwright and Mr. Vanero have said with this. I think that we are voting for a budget for funding things that need to be funded. I've used the example a couple of times in my own business that my rates have had to go up to my customers simply because I can't afford to keep employees to service what they do if I can't afford to give them pay raises. I realize the big elephant in the room today is the sheriff's department, and they're by far the largest of the increase. I've spoken numerous constituents, have been to a lot of places, a lot of meetings the past couple of weeks, and the general consensus is if we don't get ahead of the drug problem now, we're never going to get ahead of it. And it's going to cost us a whole lot more in terms of our county and our future down the road if we don't deal with this now. It's been the recurring theme of that. It is so you know, as part of being a commissioner, we have to make difficult decisions. I don't like tax increases, and I've certainly made no amends to the point that I would like to see alternative proposals that go through. I've said many a times that we always throw on the backs of the property owners the tax increase. The only method that we really have. We don't have any other way of going about that. But when you look at a sheriff's department and keeping an employee there, the most glaring option or the most glaring example of this is $15 an hour for starting pay of the deputy. And then you drive down the highway, just in the last 24 hours, I've seen sheriff's deputies' cars from Hamilton County, from Chattanooga, from Marion County, from Bledsoe County. I even saw one from Estill Springs. There is some poor sap that lives in our community who could be working for our sheriff's department who is not, who's commuting a 90-minute commute to Estill Springs every day to go work. It's bad for them. They're paying the gas over there for this poor guy to get in there, but that's 3 hours of the day that he's lost. If he worked locally and had the same opportunity cost here, he would probably come over here. So there's a lot of things that we have to do, and there's difficult decisions to make. I'm very comfortable with the idea of putting a wheel tax on a referendum. Let people speak with that. I think that is the best thing to do. If they don't want it, they don't want it. If they want it, they'll vote for it. Their choice. I don't think that's a decision that we should be making in this forum here. And I've said that from day one. One of the things that I said that I would would take a proposal for me to support a wheel tax is if we had it limited and sunset it. And we haven't been able to do that. Apparently, we're not allowed to by law. So that garnered my no support on that side of it. So we go forward and we look at our property tax, our property owners once again, to make this investment in the community. I may be wrong on that, but I think that the people who've talked to me have unequivocally said, you know what, it's being spent for something that we all need and it's going to save us money down the road. And that is going with the sheriff's department. We have to fund that, and we have to fund good employees. We can't, as Mr. Shell would point out, of not wanting to give folks raises. These people just turn around and leave, and then you have to train new people if you can hire them. And a lot of people simply aren't going to work for that amount of money. So there's my stand on it.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. So as we sit here and look at 28 cents, and I talked to Tom and a couple others, really for the first I'd heard on the 28 cents. That equates to an 18% increase. So while I was sitting here and listening to everybody talk, when you look at the United States Congress Joint Economic Committee and look at the national statistics for inflation rate for the state of Tennessee is 13.2% from January 21 to December of 22. So you're looking at 13.2 is the average for the state of Tennessee, and that's what the Congress has come up with. So 18% is not out of line from that perspective. One of the questions I had, and I know that the sheriff did a lot of good work in trying to cut, but we're looking at 28 cents. What would be the cent increase had we not gone back to the sheriff and asked him to decrease his budget or any other budget from what we saw the original expenditures come in at? Do you know approximately?
Well, if Chairman Berg, you can tag on to this if you want. If we just write down the increases in what we had budgeted last year to this year, that was about $1.65 million. Now, that's 31 cents.
31 cents, yeah.
So we didn't budget.
He's asking, I think he was asking us,
What would it have to be?
Bill, how much did he reduce it by? Was it like 150,000?
The reduction was 119.
Almost, almost 3 cents.
Right, so there you
A
go.
little over 2 cents.
So it would have been 31.
And that's exactly where I was
Yes.
trying to be at. So I said all that to say 28 cents. Yeah, I don't like taxes any more than anybody else. However, being realistic, if the Tennessee average is 13.2%, 18% is not totally out of the picture. And thank you, Bill, for a good job and for being willing to cut. A lot of gratitude there. That's my point.
Well, Bill gets a lot of spotlight because he's got the big numbers, but we reached out to other elected officials and we took around another 40,000 just that we got back from other elected officials. Maybe you don't need as much paper, you don't need as much, whatever that line item may be. So we cut a total of about $150,000. After they presented their budget, we reviewed them and kind of ran out of questions for them and somewhat accepted that. We went back in and cut that much money now. So, who else? Michael? anything from
Sure.
you?
Did you give the breakdown of that 28 cents in budget? I know you did, I just didn't.
Have you got the,
Is it in here? Is it in here? I know,
You
I
should
think.
have the breakdown per fund.
Okay, sorry, okay. 21, yeah, 21, 2.
You've read those 100 times.
Yeah. Now, the 2 cents, is that enough for solid waste?
Well, what we did, we reallocated money that we pulled from the school system already, 10 cents from the, that was 10 cents plus that too that we pulled away, so yes.
And one more question, what does that equate to on an everyday tax bill per thousand as far as land is concerned?
It comes out, we figured this out, and for every $100,000 property, it's about a $60.
About $65.
Per 100,000.
About.
Not assessed value.
Right, for $100,000 assessed value, so if you have $1,650,000 is about that, so you can do fractionals from that point.
And I'm much where Tommy is tonight. It's the first time I've heard 28 cents, so I'm gonna go back, look at the budget, talk to the people in the 6th district, and then I'll have my mind made up 31st.
And that's what, all I'll say is, that's what's expected. Right, I mean, from the commissioners. And only comments I'll say, and Keith and I, well, he can tell you, I was on the phone with him at 9 and 10 o'clock at night sometimes, going over this, because we've all said it, nobody likes it, nobody wants it. I've gone through all 4 stages of grief going through this budget. And my wife can attest to that. She thinks I've been pretty testy the last month and a half, 2 months. But it is what it is when you're facing, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox just a little bit, 2 years in a row, close to double-digit inflation, right? I mean, that's the big elephant in the room. Folks, elections in Washington does hit you locally. I'm just telling you. And 2 years in a row, double-digit inflation is going to affect us. Now, last year's budget was balanced, but we eat that. We really did. We eat that inflation because we didn't do a tax increase last year. But 2 years in a row, it's hard to stomach.
Mr. Powell.
I've been on here a long time, but that's too long.
40-something years.
But
Too long.
I wore them school passed, I know the school board, and I got elected to the commission. So I've been on both sides of the table. We have wore passed from here over to education bill years ago, over 3 cents tax increase. The district I represent is mostly a farming area. I was at the post office the other day, and believe it or not, I could hear this lady talking. And she took and was talking about one of her friends that lived down the state that had a house and 1 acre of property, a 3-bedroom house. They sold it and was hunting a place in Tennessee, and they wanted to be here in Sequatchie County. Their tax on that house, 3-bedroom house, 1 acre of ground, was $16,000. Now that sounds ridiculous, but she said they're moving here and building a 5-bedroom house. They've got 6 kids, and they want to live in Sequatchie County and have their kids educated here. They want to get away from the hustle and bustle of a big city and the high prices. They're going to move here because of the tax. They're going to buy groceries, they're going to educate their kids, they're going to spend money here. We have to look at them coming in here. What do we offer them? We got everything. Did anybody go to the meeting they had the other night of all the small business in this town that are opening up, growing? We're growing. And coming with growing is just growing pains. And I think this 28 cents is gonna hit a lot of people hard and heavy. But they're gonna have to realize if you're gonna have all these things, it comes at a price.
Joyce, anything? Brian?
Spoke earlier when my questions were in the budget.
If we're gonna give everybody an opportunity, Blaine, anything?
I think it's all been said.
Jim Bolton?
Future, if we just say we start rolling in taxes, I probably get businesses coming in. Is there a chance that we may cut?
Absolutely. That's up to this county legislative body.
I just want to let the people know we can't cut. We don't just.
Marion County did this last year. All the growth they had started rolling in. They did a tax rebate last year. Right.
The majority of it's been said, that what we're doing here is not just for people of our district. It's for the people of this county. It's for the services that you render at each individual office in this courthouse, across the road, Bill's office. You call down there and ask to speak to an officer on whatever matter. we're not paying this, well, it's like Tom said, this is for the people. And we want the services, we're expecting the services, we're gonna have to pay for the services.
Yes, I will say something. And I've said this to Bill, we've had many conversations about this, but when it comes to investment, nobody wants to make a bad investment. So we're investing into a lot of these young men and women in the law, and we're the ones investing into them, and then they go and they take and they get their training, or they go get jobs elsewhere. And it's like, we're the ones who pay for them, and yet we're the ones who kind of get wrapped over with that. So that's been a pet peeve of mine for a while, so.
June, anything from the 6th? Susie?
I just agree that the county, the sheriff needs the money to, like Blaine said, a lot of people hire on here, they get their training, then they go somewhere else because they're making more money. And the sheriff did a really good job with the drug busts and things, and that's a big thing in this town, and it seems like we have more and more in all the time. So honestly, I have no issue with the 28.
Clay?
You know, as a property owner, I'm like everybody else, you know, do I want to pay more taxes? No. But we're being dealt a hand that's kind of beyond our control with the inflation and all that we have to deal with. You know, picking on Bill back here in the sheriff's department, you know, he's done a fabulous job with what he's had. But, you know, I've talked to people who get upset because it takes his officers a long time to get somewhere. What they don't understand is he's got 2 officers that's covered this entire county. Well,
one,
and sometimes one. And, you know, it's like you want the protection, or do you want lower taxes? I mean, everybody wants lower taxes, but they also want that police protection. So, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's something that's going to have to be done.
Did we touch everybody? Clay?
And because we all do hate taxes so much, that's why, how many, 9 years, Keith? 9 years, y'all have not raised taxes. So eventually, when it flips and we do have to raise taxes, that's why it jumps. A lot of times we'll jump higher than, but the good thing, like you both said, is we can always.
Now, everybody has spoke, so Chester, you want
Yeah, well, like I said over there, I'm gonna take this stuff back to my constituents and run it by them again like I did the first time. But, you know, my big concern is that these people on fixed incomes that are having a hard time living. You know, that's why I fight for a lower rate, is to help those people like that. And it's not that I'm against the tax, it's just I'm real conservative to my people in my district.
I get you.
That's what I'm at.
Can we, like what Tommy said a while ago, when our people that were in here for, when they asked us, well, why did we do that? Well, the point that Tommy brought out, it could have been 31 cents. I mean, Bill's already got a big head, but the effort he put forward, that brought it down. That brought it down to 28 cents. I mean, that made a believer out of me.
Well, anybody else? I think it's all been said. We're not voting. This is the presentation. I stand by my recommendation. The county pays me money to do this. They pay Michael when he was in office to do it. It's not an easy task. Your charge is to discern this, come back on the 31st, face the public hearing at 5 o'clock on the 31st, and vote your constituency. So, Chairman Barger, your say?
I'll just echo what you said. You and I presented this together, and I'm in agreement with it. And it wasn't easy. If you go back and look and listen to some of the tapes, I'm sure 6-8 months ago I was throwing the warning signs up then. This budget's going to be difficult. This budget's going to be difficult.
I hate to be right sometimes, but it's a budget.
Okay, let's move on. Under the county executive's address the commission, we've been doing all that in plus, so we're going to move past that. Appointment of notaries, Madam Clerk.
And mine's simple. I have two. I have Martha B. Flores and Mona Geer.
Motion. Have a motion from Jim Moore and a second from Tommy Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, these folks are hereby notarized. Okay, the only announcement I have is a public hearing on the 31st, and we'll meet back here at a special call meeting. But you have your budgets, and go get those constituents and listen to what they're saying. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion, Jim Ball, we stand adjourned.